Okay, so I've just written out all the secondary dominants for you. A7, B7, C7, D7, E7, which obviously 5, 7 are 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now, I've just put in these tensions, which are actually wrong. I'm going to just show you now, because I just want to show you why some don't work and some do work. So first of all, we'll look at this chord, the A7 chord, which is the 5, 7 of 2. So normally A7 would be in the key of D, wouldn't it? Because A7 wants to go to D major. But we're actually in the key of C. I've got the correct key signature here. So we're going to have a look, see what tensions that we can have on this chord, A7, which is a 5, 7 of 2, in the key of C. Right, so I've just put these tensions in at the top, the 9th, the 11th and the 13th here. This is the chord A, C sharp, E, G, obviously. And we'll just see if these tensions add up, okay? So this is A, so the first one, which would be the 9th, is a B. Now that is a major 9th above that A, so that's okay, isn't it? Because the rule is we don't like minor 9ths. And then we've got this D here, but this is a minor 9th above that C sharp, so that's no good, is it? So we need to get rid of that. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so I've just got rid of that that 11th there. Now this one here, the 9th, sorry, that's okay, the 9th we said. This one here, the 13th, if you look at the 13th, which is usually here, it should be an F sharp, shouldn't it? Because we're in A. If you're looking at naming them from the bottom, that should be F sharp. So a 13th would be F sharp, but that isn't an F sharp, it's an F. Right, but it's diatonic to this key of C, so that F there would be called a flat 13th, wouldn't it? So the tensions that you can have on this A7, 5, 7 of 2, or the 9th and the flat 13th. So far, right? Because things get a little bit more complicated with secondary dominants, because what it is a rule that if the sharp 9 is diatonic to the key, that is the key that we're in C here, you can use it. So I'm going to get rid of this 9th, which is the B, and I'm going to put in the sharp 9 to show you another chord you could have in, another note that you could have in. Right, so you can also have it written like that. Now, you can't have the 9th and the sharp 9th together. You can only have one, so it's up to you to choose which one you want. Do you want to put a C natural in, which is kind of giving this a blues sound? Remember, this is A7, which would normally have a third of a sharp, but now you add in this this tension that is related to the key you're in, C, right? And so now you're playing a flat third on this A7 chord, which is going to give you kind of like a bluesy sound when you play, if you use it in melodies. Another thing is that when you've got this sharp 9 here, when you're actually playing a sharp 9 and you've decided you're not going to play a 9th, you're not going to play a B, you're going to play a sharp 9th, which is this C, right? When you do that, you can also play the flat 9th, which I will put in. Right, so you can also have the flat 9th, which is this B flat. So now you've got the C, which is the sharp 9, and the B flat, which is the flat 9th, and here you've got the flat 13th. So the available tensions on a 5, 7 of 2 secondary can change, can't they? You can have two sets really. You can have the 9th and the flat 13th, or you can have the flat 9th and the sharp 9th and the flat 13th. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit tricky, isn't it? I thought I'd just go through that and show you, and I'll put annotations at the top. I can't see any annotations, but I'm going to put annotations at the top to try and make it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so just one more thing to say about this chord, A7 chord, which is the 5, 7 of 2 is. You might have noticed, and you're probably thinking, well, he's a right two-faced bugger, that guy, because the distance between that E and that F is a minor 9th, and he's been telling us that you shouldn't use minor 9ths. The thing is that on a dominant chord, so a secondary dominant chord, you can actually use the flat 13th, irrelevant with whether it is a minor ninth or not, if that note is diatonic to the key you are in. So that's a little bit of the rule breaking, but you know, this is not my doing, this is Berkeley. The thing about dominant chords is that they stand more tensions. Can you remember earlier on when I was talking in the symbols one, I said you couldn't have the C major 11 chord because the 11th is a minor ninth above that chord. Now you see that chord was major, which is tonic sound. I was in the key of C, and that's tonic sound, and you don't want any kind of dissonance on the tonic, because the tonic chord is a rest chord. But this, the dominant chord is a movement chord, you know what I mean? It's a chord of excitement. So you can take, it's already got a tritone built into it. So when you put in a minor ninth, it's not really making it any more horrible, really. So you do get flat ninths and flat 13ths on dominant chord, even though you've got this minor ninth interval. So this B flat here, which is half a tone above this A is actually okay. You know, it's okay as long as this note here, the sharp 9, is diatonic to the key. If the sharp 9 is not diatonic to the key, then you cannot play the flat 9. These are the rules, I'm telling you. So the rules are, you can play the flat 13th if it is diatonic to the key, irrelevant of whether it is a minor ninth above the chord tone it's above, right? And the flat ninth can be played, right, irrelevant of whether it is a minor ninth above the chord tone it's above, as long as there is a sharp 9 which is diatonic to the key. I hope I've explained that okay to you. So we'll have a look now. I'll move on to 5/7 of 3. I'm not going to work it out. I'm just going to show you what the tensions are, and then I'll just talk my way through. Okay, so this is 5/7 of 3, which is B7. We can have this note. This is the ninth, which is a flat 9, because it's if you look, it's a C, which is a minor ninth above that. Now, because it's diatonic, you can have it, even though it's a minor ninth. You don't have to have the sharp 9 this time, because that note is actually diatonic, okay? And then we've got this 13th, which is obviously flat 13th, because obviously, look, this is it's a minor ninth. And I've already said that you can have a flat 13th as long as it's diatonic, which it is. Just want to mention something else. This note here, this flat ninth, is diatonic to the key, so it's allowed. This is automatic rule. So if you see B7, you don't have to see anything attached to B7. You can play these tensions. Now, if that note there was not diatonic and there was no sharp 9, you could still play a flat ninth, but you would have to indicate it in the chord symbol. This is the rules, right? You have to put it in the chord symbol in bracket that you're playing a flat ninth. It's a note that you have added to the chord. It's not a normal tension. It's one that you are adding. You might want to put a flat 9 in the melody line if you're writing a tune. So therefore you put a flat 9 in the chord to tell people. Okay. These are the rules. I'll write all the little rules down at the end of this video, and you can write them all down. Okay. So that's that one. Now, what about the sharp 9? Well, we've already got flat 9, so sharp 9 should be available, shouldn't it? Let's have a look. Okay, so I put in the sharp 9 as well. So obviously you can see that the flat 9 is diatonic to the key we're in, which is C. The sharp 9 is diatonic to the key we're in, which is C, and the flat 13th is diatonic because we're in the key of C. Okay, so on the 5/7 of 3, you can have the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the flat 13 as tensions. Now, it's just like I said, if you put in other tensions in, like say that flat 9 didn't exist, but you want to put a flat 9 in, you would have to put it into the chord symbol. This is the rule. You have to put in brackets the chord symbol, you have to put flat 9. Okay, but if it's like that, you can simply have that chord B7, and you can play these tensions without seeing any flat 9, sharp 9, anything like that. Okay, these are just natural tensions that you can play on that chord. Hope I'm getting this across to you. So we'll look at 5, 7 and 4 next. Okay, so this is 5, 7 and 4. This is pretty much straightforward. It's a C7 chord. You've got the ninth, which is this D. The sharp ninth is not diatonic because that would be D sharp, which is not in the key of C, so you can only have the ninth. And then you've got the 13th here, which is the 13th, so you can only have 9 and 13 on C7 unless you start putting brackets and writing, you know, new tensions down. Okay, so that's pretty much straightforward. So 5, 7 and 4, you can only have 9 and 13th of tensions. Let's move on to 5, 7 and 5. Right, this is the 5, 7 and 5, which is D7. You've got this E, which is the 9th, which is diatonic, and this 13th, which is the B. A, B, yeah, it's 13th. So let's have a look at this. Let me think. So we've got a 9th here. So E would be the 9th. So F is also diatonic, which would be sharp. So you could replace this E, right, to an F, okay, which would be the sharp 9th, which is also diatonic to the key of C, which you're in. And because you're playing the sharp 9, you can also play the flat 9, can't you? Which makes it look like that. So you've got this E flat that you can play as well as the F natural. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? And this, remember, you don't have to see the flat 9 in the chord sequence, because this is all part of this. You've got this, which is diatonic, so this comes in as the rule. And this is irrelevant that it is a minor 9th above this D. It's just part of the rules, isn't it? You can play flat 9. Most people would put flat 9 in brackets there just to tell everybody what they're doing, but strictly speaking, you don't have to. You only have to put it in brackets if it's not part of these natural tensions that you can play. Okay, so that's that one. So let's move on to 5, 7 of 6 now. Okay, this is 5, 7 of 6. As you can see, we've got this this F, which is diatonic to the key. So this is a flat 9th, which you can play. And because this G, right, which is the sharp 9, because obviously the 9th would be F sharp, so this G is a sharp 9th, is diatonic, you can play that as well. So you can play the flat 9th and the sharp 9th, right? And we've got this A, right, which is, sorry, this C natural, which is the flat 13th. So that's okay as well, isn't it? So the tensions that you can play on a 5, 7 of 6 are the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the flat 13th. Okay, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Like I said, don't forget that if you play anything other than these tensions, right, you've got to put in brackets what you're gonna play. Usually, you do that if you're writing a melody and you want some, I don't know, you want some sound, some different sound, I don't know, and so you put in the brackets what this melody line is. But in normal solo playing, you'll stick to these, right? Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay, so that is all the secondary chords. I don't think, yeah, that's all the secondary chords. There ain't no more. I'll just leave you with a summary of what we've done, and the next lesson will be on harmonic rhythm. Okay, bye.